Hello, and welcome to the English with Colin Podcast, a podcast for English language learners. My name's Colin, I'm an English teacher in Tokyo, and if you're looking to improve your English skills and gain more confidence in your ability to communicate in English, you've come to the right place. In these episodes, I'll provide you with short conversations in English that cover a range of topics, from everyday situations to more specialised subjects. These conversations are designed to help you practice your listening skills and pick up new vocabulary and grammar along the way. Regular listening practice is key to improving your English, and I hope this podcast will become a valuable resource for you on your language learning journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. And remember, the more you listen, the more you'll learn. This is episode 17, and in this episode, we're talking about the cost of living in Tokyo. Hey Sue.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. Today I want to talk about the cost of living in Tokyo. For many years, Tokyo was believed to be one of the most expensive, or even the most expensive cities in the world. It's not true today. Other cities have come up and replaced Tokyo as the most expensive cities in the world. What's your thoughts on this? Having lived in Tokyo for 10 years, what would you say?
I think there's a little bit for everyone. I think Tokyo can be very expensive. Especially, I think at the beginning when we came to Tokyo to live. I think we were experiencing a little bit more of the more expensive side of Tokyo because we lived more centrally. We lived very near Shinjuku, and there can be quite expensive things in Shinjuku. And it's also what is more available for foreigners, it's also more expensive. So I think at the beginning, I did feel like that's what we were doing. But with time, you start learning other things to do. And with friends or with other people, you start, they take you to here and there.
True.
And then you start understanding that, there's a whole different world that you can, it's not expensive at all. It's in fact incredibly affordable.
Yeah, I think that there is a tendency when you move to a new country, you're going to look for what's familiar to you and what's familiar from other places that you've been to. So for us, coming from what we might call Western countries, the type of restaurants that we might go to or think of going to, they would be expensive because they are a novelty here.
We were living like tourists.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah, I think so. But this is the reason, is that we're looking for things that are familiar, that we understand. Going to sort of Western style restaurants, for example, or Western style bars, pubs, whatever, they're expensive because it's a novelty here. You're paying for a certain type of atmosphere, service in a certain type of way, and there's the other side of it, which is the super local places, the very cheap type of restaurants that people might go to, or even bars. You've got what they call standing bars around many of the big sort of train stations, or many parts of Tokyo have these kind of standing bars where you stand, funnily enough, and they can be very, very cheap.
But also delicious and good quality. You can find very good quality for a very good price.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing about the city. I think there's so much offer that all places know that there's enough people for them, but also that, their quality needs to be at the top.
That's true. Yeah, I think if your quality is not right, if you're not delivering good value, you'll find out very quickly. Your customers will tell you that your customers will walk away. So yeah, there's something for everyone. There's all levels of price.
There are, and and that makes it so much fun because you can discover many different places, and you can think about, it's also different experiences. As you said, the more expensive might be a bit more Western, or they can be fully Japanese, but very elegant, right?
Yeah, fully, it's like a westernized, it's like a Japanified Western style. So kind of French done with a Japanese twist or something, that could be incredibly expensive. And yeah, if you go really far down the very traditional Japanese route, then things can get very expensive again. So you're not paying for the novelty sort of Western aspect, you're paying for the super traditional quality and presentation of. So these kind of restaurants, for example, where all of the staff are wearing kimono, and you're in a private room with a big table and just your the friends that you're enjoying the meal with, they can get pretty expensive. When we've had moments where we've been in places and we start to worry about, okay, how much is this going to cost? Okay, so that's kind of the eating out, entertainment kind of side of things. And certainly some areas are going to be very expensive. Roppongi is going to be very expensive. Shibuya, Shinjuku, there are very, very expensive parts.
Yeah, they can. Well, I'm guessing renting a space for your business is going to be quite high in these locations, right?
Yeah, Ginza, around Tokyo Station, that kind of area as well.
So what they can offer is something that's going to be also expensive.
You're talking about, well, you mentioned rent for businesses. What about housing rent, apartment rent?
Yeah, I think that can also be. I don't know. I don't think we have that much access to understand it fully. But you see, very small apartments, like 20 meters or less.
Oh yes, okay.
In very very desirable areas, and people can kind of like them because they have all of the commodities, all of the restaurants, and maybe a little sento, which is a bath.
Yeah, it's location is the key for those kind of very small apartments. But also people who have maybe they just live by themselves. I mean, if you're living with a partner, a wife, kids, those kind of 20 square meter apartments aren't really going to work for you.
But in the same areas, there's also the bigger apartments, very luxurious apartments that I don't even know how much they are.
No, I saw a video recently, and somebody was looking at an apartment. I think it was in Setagaya, which is not central. I mean, well, it's not far from Shibuya, depending on where in Setagaya, but the apartment was 700,000 yen per month rent. 700,000 yen per month rent. And it was a big place. It was 150 square meters, and it was very, very well put together. Lots of kind of, multiple kind of office type areas and corridors, and just everything was very high end. So yeah, I think a key element for rent in Japan is location, and also how close you are to a train station.
Yes, that's very important. The closer to the train station, the better. And yeah, the less available, I would say, when we moved here. We wanted to go near Tachikawa, but there wasn't that much offer. It's an area that's, it's already very full, and people want to live there because it's the big station, and around that area.
Yeah,
it's very comfortable.
It's a hub.
It is.
It's a hub, and it's very convenient on the central line, the Chuo line. But I think being within 10-minute walk of the station, that's kind of you're going to pay a premium to be within 10 minutes of a station.
And also the line of that station, that's also going to be different, because if you're within a very good line that takes you all the way to the center, that's also, going to add to your rent. Yeah,
exactly. Food. Yeah, we talked about food. We talked about restaurants. I think there is a difference if you live more centrally. The type of supermarket, shall we say, that you're going to get more centrally, they are more fancy.
They have other kinds of produce that can be a little bit more expensive, fruits and vegetables, I would say, especially fruits, but also fish or types of meat. It can change a lot, the pricing.
What about entertainment? Is entertainment expensive? One thing that comes to mind is concert tickets, like music concerts.
Yes, they can get very expensive.
Yeah, but again, I think you're paying for the type of music that we might go and see. It's big Western bands or artists.
But there's also smaller venues.
Yeah.
And those are not that expensive, I don't think. I think, Tokyo has, loads of places that you can go for different concerts, for different, different museums.
The thing that we found interesting was the system for buying tickets.
Oh, that has been wonderful, yes.
Wonderful?
I think it's
you think it's quite
easy.
Clever?
It's clever, it's easy, it's straightforward.
I find it stressful. I find it stressful. So the thing that we found, not for every artist, but they have this kind of lottery system. So you apply to buy a ticket, and you'll be notified. So there'll be a period of application, and then you'll be notified as to whether you're successful or not. And then you've got a period to actually complete the payment, which is kind of interesting because you avoid this huge demand, like websites being flooded, or, if you've got thousands and thousands of people trying to buy tickets online at the same time, websites are going to go down and tickets are going to sell out in minutes, which is kind of unfair. Whereas this lottery system allows a longer period where people can apply. It just seems like a more fair way of doing it. But yeah, the first time round I found it quite stressful because I really wanted to see this artist. But I had to wait, a couple of weeks or more to know whether we had got the tickets or not.
Yes, I think I find it wonderful because in a way you don't have to deal with the, the sale opens at this time and you have to be there or else you cannot get the tickets. They control it very well because you don't necessarily get your seats until maybe the week of the concert.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you don't know which seats you've got. You know which section.
Yeah.
But you don't know the specific seats. So why is that a good thing?
Because they cannot resell.
Right.
The reselling is going to be more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And that keeps the prices, I think, okay.
Right.
And I really like that you can just go to the convenience and pay for them.
Mm.
And they just give you the tickets right there. Or there's the other machine. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, yes, yeah. Within the convenience.
Within the convenience, yeah. And then you can go and get your tickets there as well. Also, some museums, you can get tickets there.
Yeah, no, they do all kinds of magical things. So, yeah, I mean, those are, I find to be quite expensive. But, if you're going to go to a concert in Madison Square Gardens, it's going to be expensive. If you're going to go to a concert in, I don't know, the Wembley Stadium or whatever in London, it's going to be expensive. So, yeah, if you go and see somebody at Tokyo Dome, guess what? It's going to be expensive. So,
well, but other things that you can go is baseball.
Baseball?
And they're not that expensive, are they?
You can get cheaper tickets for baseball. Yeah. That's true. Which, yeah, it's baseball season. We should go along.
Absolutely.
What's your team?
Tokyo.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
The Yomiuri.
Yes.
The Yomiuri Giants, yes. Might be an unpopular choice, but it was the first team we went to see, and it's close to where we work. So yeah, that's where our allegiance is.
Exactly.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the English with Colin podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation and found it helpful in your language learning journey. Remember, the key to mastering a language is regular practice. So make sure you listen to our podcast regularly and keep honing your listening skills. We appreciate your support and feedback. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for future topics, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to joining you again next time for another conversation in English. Until then, keep practicing and take care.